Welcome everybody to TracSport Garage with Vic and Steve. I'm Steve Granke.
And I'm Vic Simone.
Today one of our topics is going to be the apprenticeship program and what it takes to become an apprentice. Well, what do you think?
What do I think? I think it takes a grade 12 diploma for sure. You have to finish school.
Yeah.
Right. I remember when you and I started, I think you only needed grade 10.
Grade 10.
Well, 10. So that's amazing. What a change, huh?
And then you're going to college in grade 10.
Yeah. So anyways, we did get our grade 12s and we, did our thing. I do remember the apprenticeship program was supposed to be a 5-year program. Yeah. I think I did mine in 3 or 4. Right, just depending.
9,000 working hours.
Yeah, and that's it. And then the 3 times you have to go to the trade school.
Right.
Yeah, Centennial College there. But I was just thinking about something now that you mentioned this. I remember there was a young apprentice. Yeah, he dropped off his resume at my shop, and this was a few years ago. And I asked him if it was okay that I shared his resume with you, right, and other shops.
Yeah,
and he says,
Carter.
No, he said no problem at all. And yeah, that was Carter. And from what I gathered just talking to him, he knew a lot. And he was young and ambitious and wanted to get working on cars, and I didn't have any room for anybody anymore. So I think he did contact you.
Yeah. He came and I took him under my wing, and he was above the curve for a first-year apprentice. Like, he was way ahead.
Yeah.
And so I knew he was going to be a good one.
Yeah.
And he was there for over a year and a half, and he's trying to get in touch with. We already had him as an apprentice. We got him. We had that all done.
Right. So he had him registered.
He's all registered and all that stuff. But the problem was he wanted to go to his first year of school.
Okay.
And couldn't get a hold of them. They were leaving messages and not returning calls and all that stuff. And when he finally did get a hold of them and they came back with him, he wasn't going to be scheduled to school for a year later. And he dropped out of the trade because he just couldn't afford to live on a first year apprentice salary. And he had a place that he was paying rent to live and all that. So and he couldn't. So he had to leave, and it was just a shame to lose that. And I was so ticked off over this apprenticeship thing because I hear it over and over again with other people that they can't get a hold of their sponsors and they're not returning their calls and all that stuff. And in fact, the one time I was trying to help the guy to get through, and I got through, and I could hear this frying sound, and I'm going, "What the heck is that?" And then chopping. I'm going, "Oh my God, they're making their dinner."
Yeah.
In the afternoon, I go, "What a job is that? Working from home and you're just cooking?" And I said, "What was the reason why they didn't answer the call before? Were they having a nap?"
That's weird.
So I'm really questioning the government's
the Skilled Trade Ontario, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Because they say that the problem is the kids are not getting involved, not getting into trades. Well, maybe it's the government that's not helping anything. Because if you can't get a hold of them, you can't just sit there and let them work for minimum wage.
No. No.
So something's got to be addressed about that.
Well, I remember when we were registered, we had this little blue book we had to fill out and have we, and there would be a representative from Skilled Trades Canada or from the apprenticeship program that would actually come to the shop.
Yeah. Right?
And they would actually sit with you, talk to you, see how everything's going, then talk to the boss, see how he's doing. Yeah. And we had to check mark everything off. He's done transmissions, engines, tune-ups, and all that. And it was nice to actually see somebody, right? And even when I had the shop, we did get through to them. This is earlier. And they would come to the shop and they'd register the guys and we go through everything. And then 6 months later, they show up again and we go through what they've done. And then when they're ready to go to school, they'd make a phone call and this person would register them for school. It was amazing how fast everything was done.
Yeah.
But you're telling me now, this is only 3 years ago with you. Because I remember he's a smart kid.
Yeah.
And from what I gather, he's gone on to bigger and better things. From what you told me, and I met him.
He came to aviation.
He went to he met us at the track last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, aviation. So he's completely out of the automotive.
Yeah.
Wow. So there goes a good one right there.
Yeah.
Right, and it's all because he couldn't get registered for school fast enough. So what's the difference between the aviation registration and automotive? I don't get it.
Well, there was. I'm not sure what kind of, his job was more of it wasn't repairing jet engines or anything like that. It was the inside of the plane, like checking seats to make sure they're bolted down properly and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, so basically a safety check before it flies away or whatever.
Stuff in the cockpit,
Okay.
making sure all switches and everything, I guess, whatever. But it's not. He wasn't in charge of engine kind of thing.
Okay.
But he would have to fly out to, which he didn't like. He had to fly out to Montreal or fly if there's a problem with the plane. He had to go out there and see what was wrong.
Really? As an apprentice?
No, because he was he already had a couple of years before he decided to be an auto mechanic.
Okay, so he was
In
testing
that
the
field,
waters.
but he didn't like the flying, and you're all alone, and you stay there for a couple of days by yourself in a hotel, and then you leave and come home, and he didn't like it.
Right.
But he went back into it. Now he's the head of it. He's the boss now.
Wow. And he's young still. Like
Oh yeah, he's only like 23.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wow. That tells you he's got a good head on his shoulders,
when he
Steve.
came to me, he was only like 19.
Yeah, I know he was young.
And he was working at doing the thing for, I guess it was Air Canada. I guess I'm not sure where it was.
Yeah.
When he was only like 18.
That's
right out of high school.
Yeah.
Because his dad was a pilot.
Okay.
So his dad, he had an in.
Okay, which is good. So you don't know what airlines he was working for or whatever?
No, I'm not sure.
All right. Well, then, you know what? That's a shame that he didn't become an auto mechanic.
Yeah.
Or an automotive technician.
But
Did I ever
that's,
tell you
for
about
instance,
that?
there's other people doing the same thing. Like I got two guys that are finished their school, ready to write. I've already signed off, and that, like you were talking about the sponsors coming. Well, no sponsors come. He got all the thing done in the mail and sent to me, and I had to sign off on it.
Yeah.
And put signature and what he's been doing with the transmission. Did you do transmission work and engine work and tune-ups and electrical and all that stuff?
Right.
And I had to sign off on it, and then he mails it to them, and they mailed that months ago.
Yeah.
And nothing back, and they're phoning. Nothing's getting back to them. They want to write their license.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what everybody wants to do. They want to get their ticket, right?
And it's such a slow process, and I don't understand why. So, to the people that are a sponsor or work for Skills Canada or Skills Trade
Ontario,
Skills
yeah.
Ontario, we have a website. It's TracSport Garage podcast at gmail.com. Again, that's TracSport Garage podcast at gmail.com. Enlighten me. Tell me if I'm wrong thinking what I'm thinking, and that things are in motion and this is the way it is, or give me something.
Yeah.
Because it's to me it's broken.
You want to hire more apprentices.
And the kids are not going to get into apprenticing for anything if this is a situation, because with inflation, all that stuff, they can't afford to sit there and work at a job for 3 years and not hear back from any working at just above minimum wage. They want to move up. So please give us a shout.
I know they're pushing building, like builders, carpenters, and everything else, right?
Yeah.
They need to push the automotive sector. The problem with the automotive sector is their tools are a lot more expensive, right? You and I were talking about that too. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how much I have invested in tools. I probably have over $100,000 invested in
Oh, for
tools.
sure.
Right?
For sure.
Easily, right? Because I got to keep buying tools. I just had to buy 2 more sets of tools this week for
Yeah.
certain jobs in the shop, right? Now, yourself as a technician at a dealership, what do you think an average tech spends on tools to load their toolbox? Like, say, after 5 years, what do you think that toolbox is worth?
40 grand.
At least, right? 40 grand. So that's another thing. I know that some of these guys now get some kind of money back on their tools, which is about time.
They get it when they're apprenticing in school, but it's not easy. It's another thing that they would snap on that they have to apply for it and all that stuff, and they get, I think, 40% off or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
They don't get anything
So-
back from the Skilled Trades Ontario or Skills Canada,
No,
nothing?
No.
Okay, that's something I want to talk about too. Skills Trades Canada. I remember I went to a seminar with Skills Trades Canada. I ever tell you this story?
No.
It was after the NISTEC competitions.
Okay.
So I was at the Woodbridge location, and Nissan Canada approached the general manager and said, "We need to use Victor for a day to come with us to the Ford plant in Oakville to, answer questions for a panel, right?
You can open that goddamn door.
Oh, hang on a second. Jeez, hold on. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. Sleeman.
Right.
Oh. It's bubbling. Anyways, so this is what we did. I took half a day. I couldn't go for the full tour, so it took half a day, and they took everybody through the tour of the plant, right, in Oakville, at the Ford plant. And then they had a front panel where we all got up on stage. They had a press operator, a woodworker operator, a machinist, and then the mechanic, right? So this was all your guidance counselors from the high schools. And there had to be, I don't know, at least 500 of them in there, right? This was a really big thing for Skills Trades Canada. Anyways, I get up on the stage, and they start asking questions to everybody, Like, where did you go to school? What did you do? And they asked me a question. They said, where did you go to school? I went to high school, and I said, I found my job through guidance counselors like all you guys sitting out here, right? That's how I found my place as a mechanic. And if it wasn't for the guidance counselor's office, I probably wouldn't be doing it, right? So they go back to the press operator and they say, okay, how many years of school are you doing and all this? Well, I've been to college for 5 years. Now I'm going to go for another 5 years and all that. Then they go to the machinist, machine shop operator. And yeah, I'm going to university and I've done it for 8 years now and I've got good work coming and all that, right? And then the last question of the day was, okay, how much does everybody make a year?
Oh, yeah. There we go.
There we go. So thank goodness they started off at the other end. And I hear this guy say, well, I've been to university for 10 years now, and I'm going to come out making about $30,000 a year. I went, what? How old is this kid? Right? He's got to be at least 30 years old now. Yeah. He's still living at home, right? And he's only making $30,000. He's done all that schooling.
And then he probably has to pay a lot of it back.
Yeah, exactly. And then they go to the other, was it a press operator? Well, I've been doing this for 8 years and stuff like that. I got my full-time job. I'm going to make about $25,000 to $30,000 a year. I'm like, wait a second, something's wrong here. Have you been going to university all this time and this is what you're getting? So then they get the mechanic. Okay, auto mechanic, how much do you make? I said, because I've been working long hours and everything like that, I'm making good money, Steve. I was making double what I told them. I couldn't tell them the truth. I said, you make about $90,000 a year. Well, you should have heard the crowd. You hear, I knew I should have stayed in the fucking train. They're throwing their pens on the floor. You hear a commotion started, right? Oh, and so it was a riot. The next thing you know, they're all asking questions like hell, right? They'll go, Vic, how did you get started again? I said, you guys got me started. All you guidance counselors right here. You guys got the power to guide people the right way, And they were going on and on. And then finally the question stopped, right? Because they ran out of time. Yeah. Well, we ran out of time now, so thank you, auto mechanic. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. She called me an automotive technologist, not an automotive technician. I was like, what the hell is that, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, now they call up the representative from Nissan Canada. So he was a good guy. So I'm walking up the stage, and as I'm walking up the stage, and he goes, you know what we need in our trade? We need 500 more victors. Yeah. It's just like, wow. So I'm walking to my table, right? And now I'm surrounded by people following me to the table asking me questions like, how did you get started again? Where did you go to school? Where do you work? Then this old guy who must have been retired, like an old teacher, an old mechanic. And he comes through the crowd, he goes, son, he grabs my hand, put it there, buddy. It's about time us auto mechanics got recognized, he says. Yeah. So that was good. Again, that was through.
But how long ago was this? Like
in the 90s. In the 90s.
Okay. 30,000 a year.
It was awful. It was terrible. What I was hearing, these guys were going to university for like 10 years. So I don't get it, right? We come out of the box, and they say more skilled people coming out of the box from high school, like doing air conditioning, whatever, are making way more money than people going into the universities and colleges.
Yeah.
Weird, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that. That's that sort of
and all that stuff. They're making really good
money.
They're
doing
making
great.
More than auto technicians.
Oh, of course they are. Yeah, but they're on the road. They're climbing ladders. They're up on roofs, so they get the same pain and strains that we get, right?
Yeah.
Bad backs, bad knees.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying not taking anything away from that way.
No, they're hard workers too. Like, I mean, a skilled trade is a skilled trade, right? You need your licenses for everything. We need our license for air conditioning, right?
Well, you need a ladder license, I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
You have to have a license to climb a ladder.
Who told you this? What you talking about?
The guy with the ladder.
Okay, back to something else. Today, actually yesterday, you and I were talking about a problem you have with a vehicle. It was a Nissan Rogue.
Yeah.
Go for it. Let's hear about this problem. Tell me the whole thing from beginning to end, because you told me stuff that I couldn't believe happened.
Well, it was a rear camera that they said that was flickering. So I went in it, put it in reverse to make the camera operate, and it flickered, but only for about a second. But you couldn't tell what it was behind you. It was just a mess on the screen, and then it just went black.
Right.
And it stayed black. And then I got in and I put it in park, and I put it back in reverse, started flickering for a little bit, and it started doing the same thing. So I opened up the back trunk, the cover in the rear, took it off, so I exposed the back of the camera, and I unplugged the connector to the camera, and it was green, full of corrosion. So then I see water has entered in there, and I traced the water leaking from the wiper. The rear wiper pivot that goes through the back window. Right. And there's a seal there, and that seal's leaking. Mm-hmm. And it's probably leaking for a while. Right, so that's why you get corrosion. Anyway, because I disconnected it, right away when I saw it, I go, oh my God, if I put this back in, I bet you it won't even do anything now.
But you had to disconnect it to check it.
Yes.
Right.
So I disconnected, I connected it back. I kind of blew it just with my mouth, blew the shit out I could see, and I just plugged it back in, and I put it in reverse, and now it's just a black screen with an X, and I went, oh Christ, this is trouble. Because the customer's going to say something for sure that, oh, it was somewhat working before, now you wrecked it,
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, so I got some penetrating fluid, I sprayed it, blew it out. I had a very small, very, very tiny, almost like a paper clip, thin, and I got in there and I tried cleaning it, and it didn't help. It was buggered.
Yeah.
So I checked. There was a bulletin on it, and that's sure enough. There was a bulletin on it that seal leaks, and that I'd have to replace the camera and the sub harness. So priced everything out, gave it to the customer, and sure enough, the guy friggin' freaked out and said, "Oh, it was working before." And I said, "No, sir, it wasn't. It wasn't working.
It wasn't working, man. Come on."
It flickered for me for like a second, but you couldn't tell what was behind you.
Yeah.
It was like a TV screen that went fucking all snowy.
Yeah.
Kind of thing like that. And he goes, "Well, it was better than it was." And I go, "Okay, it's not."
It's like you all of a sudden you caused all this to happen.
Yeah,
it wasn't happening before. It happened now.
I know.
It was already happening. That's why he was there.
I disturbed it.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're asking, well, what do you want us to do? He declined the work. He didn't want to do it.
Of course not. That's expensive, right?
But at the same time, he wanted some kind of retribution or something. So they just gave him the car back and said, you don't have to pay us for diag or anything. And I was so mad that I spent over an hour figuring this out and all that stuff and pricing everything out for this guy to get it away with not paying.
Yeah, and he got away without paying.
Yep.
Wow.
The dealership paid me.
Oh, that's a first.
The dealership paid me an hour diag.
What the heck?
They paid for it. They took the hit.
Yeah.
But, talk to the general manager, and he says, we might make this guy a customer. And I said, I don't think so, because I look at the history, and the only time he ever came in here was for a recall. And all the other stuff that we said that it was required to do, he never did anything. Wow. So I don't think that just because we're going to give him this freebie, he's going to come back.
No.
That's.
You know what? It happens, but at least you got paid to diagnose that.
Yeah.
Instead of them coming in, well, we're not charging the guy, so we're not paying you. That'd be a complete insult.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that the dealer actually stepped up to pay you for that.
Yeah.
Right? But they can't keep doing that all the time.
No.
Right? Because that's just not the way to do business. I mean, theoretically, if that was one of my customers, they'd actually be paying me for it. There's no question about it. And they go, yeah, I know it's rotten, it's broken, what have we. I got another example of something like that. Ran into a guy today who was getting his oil changes done at a shop for the last 3 years, at least 6 oil changes.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't get into that shop, and he decided, well, he met a friend of his that has a small shop in his backyard who used to be a mechanic. So he said, bring it over to my place, we'll do the oil change, we'll have a beer or whatever, right? That's the way he said. He's got the beer fridge and all that.
Right.
So they get it's a 4Runner, Toyota 4Runner, so to get the oil filter off, you have to take this big skid plate off the front. And it's like 4 bolts holding it up or whatever.
Yeah.
But he said 1 bolt is completely stripped, and it's rotted, rusted right in there.
And just spins.
Well, it won't even, you can't get a socket on it. They spent 2 hours chiseling it out, apparently. I'm going, well, I probably would have drilled it out and then taken it out with an easy out, whatever. Anyways, that's the way they did it. And 2 hours to get a plate off. He takes the filter out, and it looks like it's been in there for like 3 to 4 years. It looks like it's never been changed. Oh. And so he's going to send me a picture of it. He said, I've kept it for a whole year at my house because I need to show this guy. I said, well, why don't you show him? He said, I'm not going to show him. I don't tell anybody to go there anymore. And if somebody asks me about a good shop, I tell them not to go there. Isn't that awful?
Yeah.
But it's from his personal experience, right?
But that
filter,
how do you know?
If that bolt's been stripped for years and rusted right in there, that means that normally if it was me and I strip a bolt, I drilled it out and I put a new bolt in.
Yeah, but don't you have to take the drain plug out? You have to take the skid plate off?
The skid plate's only for the oil filter. They're at the front of those vehicles, and it's a big oil filter housing that's a cartridge.
Yeah,
right?
I don't get that. Yeah.
And anyways, from what he told me, I went, you know what? It makes sense what he said. And the other guy was a mechanic who he was dealing with, like that was helping him.
Yeah.
And he said this filter is just so, like, it was ready to actually fall apart. And you know what happens if a filter falls apart and all that paper gets stuck in the passageways, right? It's going to plug up everything. So that's what I found out something today with one of my customers there, like my old customers, right? So now he found me, so I guess he's going to be coming back to me for oil changes. Yeah. So, okay, no problem.
Just make sure you change the filter.
I will, of course, yeah, I will, always. You never change the filter, right? But what else have you had? Any, like, I know we talked about the Rogue. Any other exciting stuff come in this week that kind of threw you for a loop, or, you know? No, nothing.
Think of, like, you know what it is, like at a dealer. Like, if you're working on so many cars,
I know
it's hard to remember at the end of the day. What did I do today?
I know, I got one guy that came in, said he's had tire pressure sensors changed on his F-150. 3 times, and it still doesn't send a signal properly. I'm going, well, that can't be the TPMS sensor, can it?
No.
It's got to be whatever picks up the signal from the TPMS.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to start looking at that. So I'll be looking at that next week, and I'll give you some information. Well, maybe next week if he shows up. He might not, because maybe my price might be too much, right?
Yeah.
But I did have a funny one there. A Buick Envision. You know, those a little all-wheel drive Buick Envision Prestige, I think it is. Anyways, it was for a noise that sounds like a wheel bearing, but it's got a higher pitch, right? So here I am, like, it was cold. Remember we had like the 10, 15 below zero stuff?
Yeah.
It wouldn't do it. I'm driving, I put like 50 kilometers on this thing. I couldn't get it to happen. I heard it once when she came. So then I said, leave it with me and I'll drive it around where I can. So I take it up Woodbine, the 404. I'm driving it all over the place. And it won't do it. So I said, listen, I know this may be off topic, but we need to flush out your fluids anyways, like your transmission, your transfer case, your rear differential. And I noticed the rear differential's leaking pretty good, right? But I said, let me change the fluid anyways, because it's black. It's just dirty. The transmission fluid was blacker than engine oil, right? So I said, let's change all this, because it sounded like a needle bearing. You know what I mean? Like a needle bearing in a transmission that make that loud hum, right? So I did all that. I drove the car for another 30 kilometers, never heard a peep out of it. Right? So I'm going, you know what, come and get it. I don't know if it's fixed or not. I said, but you needed these fluids anyways. And then 2 days later, she said, it's doing it, right? So she comes over to the shop. We go for a drive, it's not doing it anymore, right? She says, I don't understand, I did it all day yesterday, she says. But it went from like plus 10 to minus 10, you know, overnight, right? Yeah. So it wouldn't do it, right? I said, come back on a warmer day. So sure enough, she came in yesterday. Went out for a drive and it was there 40K an hour, nonstop, just making that noise. I go, it sounds like it's coming from the center of the vehicle. Like, and I'm thinking right away, hanger bearing, because it's all-wheel drive. But I got to make sure, right? So now I lucky I had one of the team members from the race team was there, John Paul.
Yeah.
And so I said, John Paul, I'm going to lift this up in the air. I'm going to turn off traction control. I want you to jump in there and I want you to hold this thing at 40 kilometers an hour steady, right? So sure enough, he's there at 40 kilometers an hour. I get my my stethoscope on that hanger bearing and it's just howling, right? Finally, got the noise. So I'm going to price out this part. Well, aftermarket, it's hard to find, but I did manage to find one. From the dealer, it was $2,200 for this part, just the part, right?
That's a big drive shaft.
It is what it is. Like, that's what they're making. They're making them all that you can't change the hanger bearing unless you're a specialty shop that, you know, does this for a living, which we don't. So lately, Subarus, Hondas, Some of the Nissans, complete drive shafts. Everything ranges from $900 to $2,200 just for the part.
Yeah, guys, I have had one on a Rogue.
Yeah.
Where, but it only would do it at like cold temperatures, and it would be. If you're lucky, if you could hear it for about a minute.
There you go, just like that. Exactly. That's it. I had the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a hell of a way to try and find a problem when it's not happening all the time.
Yeah.
That's the intermittent thing, right? But anyways, I've ordered the part. I'll be doing it next week. See if it comes in. Might come in by Wednesday. Even the aftermarket, it's back ordered, right? But also the way they put this thing on there, it's not bolted on anymore. It's basically sit on like a slip yoke, right? So you have to order a special tool and slide hammer and everything and pop these things out.
I just love those mechanics. Just love engineers. Eh?
Yeah, it's different. Why couldn't they just bolt it on? I have no idea. What happened to 6 bolts?
Yeah.
Right? No, not happening.
Had it for freaking 100 years, but no, they're going to change it to make it more difficult. And someone's got to buy a tool that's going to cost probably $1,000 with a fucking tool.
Yeah.
And then you can use it once.
That's right. I've got some tools in my box that I bought for doing the job, and the customer never showed up. So now I got a brand new tool in the box. I can't send back, right? Because I've opened the box, right? And looked at it and went, ooh, this is a very nice looking tool, right? One of these days I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, man.
Well, I got a set of, they're funny looking torque type sockets. They're weird looking. Anyways, we got it from Matco Tools. The guy says, "Oh, this is new tools because they're putting these new type of bolts, and you're going to need this."
Is it the one that is on the flywheel? That special one for the flywheel on the back?
No.
No. Okay.
Anyway, so I bought this string and socket. There's only like six sockets, whatever.
Yeah.
Bought them. I've never used them once. I've had them for about 5 years, and I don't even know what they're for.
You just look at them; they look good.
The things are starting to rust because they're just sitting there.
Oh my God! There's a lot of humidity in the shop, eh?
Yeah.
Or a lot of bad mouthing going on.
Yeah. Well, if you never even put it on a freaking fastener,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So don't get any oil on to lube them.
Yeah.
Well, I had today. I even had a Mercedes come in for tires, right? So I check his brakes, completely worn out. Right, like we're talking millimeters to the sensors all touching the rotor now, so the light should be coming on the dash.
Yeah.
So I price it out. It's like $3,000.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah.
like labor is around $400. The rest of it's all parts.
Yeah, I know. The parts for cars now has gone through the roof.
I noticed that too on my aftermarket supplies too. I noticed the parts prices have gone up now, so it's finally starting to hit. Right?
Jeez, I remember the days we used to get the aftermarket rotors for like $20.
Yeah, I bet you.
No, they're $100.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I wouldn't trust some of these aftermarket rotors that are that low a price. I remember we did a special.
This is going back, but I never really had a problem.
You're lucky then.
I always bought these rotors for my cars, $20, you know.
Yeah. Oh no, I actually had one of my old customers came in today. We kind of donate clothing and donate blankets and stuff like that. And this young lady, she collects them for the dog shelters, animal shelters, right? So we had a pile of blankets, bags full of blankets. She came by today, and we were talking about, car clubs and all that stuff, and because she used to be a big member of a car club. And then it all of a sudden hit me. I remember this one car club. It was a BMW car club. And I still remember the day that they started coming to the shop. And I had a phone call from a guy. He says, I got a BMW Z3 and a Z4, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Convertible, the old ones. And he wanted to do an alignment, right? He says, but I want to watch the guy doing the alignment. I'm going, oh, okay. You know what? I'm doing the alignment, guys. You know what I mean? Because I'm okay with somebody watching me do an alignment, right? So with this fine vehicle, I said, look, buddy, you can watch, but you got to stand at the back of the bay door there in case anything was to happen. I don't want to have an insurance problem, but you can watch all you want. I'll pull up a chair for you if you have to. He says, no, I'll stand here and watch, right? So he was a big car club member, big BMW car club. And so I pulled it up on the rack, and he's telling me, well, it just doesn't feel like it corners properly and all this stuff. And I go, okay, cool. So I'm doing what it tells me to do on the instructions on the rack, okay? There's our Hunter beautiful Hawkeye alignment machine.
Yeah.
So, you follow the prompts. It says you got to put, weight in the vehicle to simulate downforce. So I have all these cowbells that we use. And I put 150 pounds in the front floor, 150 pounds on the passenger, another 150 pounds in the trunk, whatever it was. He goes, what are you doing? I go, well, I'm doing what it tells me to do. I'm simulating your downforce for your alignment. He says, listen, man, I've been to 4 BMW specialists, and none of them have done that. I'm going, listen, this might work out very well then. Just pay attention to what I'm doing, right? So he goes, I can't believe this. What's this guy doing, right? Yeah. So, what happens when you do that and you put the weight inside the vehicle? It gives you a measurement now to measure from the I guess the rack to the top of the fender, that it should be within this amount of inches.
Yeah,
right?
well, you're simulating someone in the vehicle.
Exactly. Right. We're simulating the car going down the highway and the car being pushed down, right? And of course, I made sure he brought a full tank of gas and everything else, right? Make sure everything's good. So I do the alignment. I do it nice. Everything moved because it's never winter driven. So camber, caster, everything. So he pays his bill, and I think it was only like I don't know why, only freaking cheap, $170 for a four-wheel alignment like that. Yeah. Okay. All of a sudden, half an hour later, the phone rings, and I see his name come up on the screen. I said, I'm getting this. And I go, hello, name of the company. And he goes, hey, is that you, Vic? I go, yeah. He says, listen, the car has never driven so well. It corners like it's on rails. I have never had the car drive so good. He says, can I send you a whole bunch of these guys? And I said, as long as they're not like you, it's okay. So he's like, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean? He's like, he's freaking out. He's just laughing his head off, and I'm laughing. I think we made a good customer out of him, and he did send us a lot of clients with high-end cars. Yeah. And I think it's because we did it properly, right?
Well, that's
and like everything,
thing.
you got to do it right.
Thing.
If
you
it says
do the job right, don't cut corners or anything like that. Do the job right.
Yeah, I mean, if an alignment takes 2 hours, it's 2 hours, right? Like I send my alignments out to guys right now because I don't have an alignment rack, so I send it out. The ones that I can string, I'll string with our race alignment setup, but it costs a lot more, and I tell them that if you wanted me to do your alignment, it's going to cost you double what it would cost, right? And some guys say yes, some guys say no. So when I send them out, I make sure that I loosen off. I loosen off the tie rod ends. I back off the nuts so that they can turn them, right? So that basically they got to crack them, adjust, and lock. Straightforward. So their alignment would normally take, say, an hour and a half. It probably only takes them 45 minutes now because I've loosened everything.
No, it doesn't. It should.
But you know what I'm saying. Okay. On a truck, if they had to take the torch and start heating up everything, they're going to start charging me extra and charging the customer extra, right? Yeah. So I have it already done. Hopefully it takes them a half an hour. Right, but they're making full pop, right, and everybody's happy. Yeah. Right, like if I was to send you a car, I'd make sure everything was goddamn seized up so bad.
I know you would. Yeah.
That's what I would do, anyways.
You'd piss on the fucking control arm until I touch them.
Yep. I'd leave you a note. Stevie was here.
Yeah. Fucking nice guy.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean, we've had some cars, like I said, they come in there, people have worked on, and man, you can just see it's just not right, lifted trucks, stuff like that. And it's like, are we actually going to do the alignment on this thing? Because it doesn't look like this stuff is put in right. And sometimes we'd have to call and say, you got to take it back. You got to change what you've done here, right? We're not going to put our name on this, right?
Well, I've had people that you did some suspension work to it, and then they say, we don't need the alignment done because we had it done before. I said, no. You have to do the alignment because I'm changing everything by putting this new part on. It's going to be out.
It has to be.
Right?
It has to be.
And they'd say, no, it's okay. I said, okay, take it for a drive and see what you think. Meanwhile, steering wheel's like freaking way off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then they come back, okay, I'll do the alignment. Well, and you're just going, geez, I wish people would listen to me.
I know. It just doesn't make any sense because that's where you got to the point, remember, where they know more than you do.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, I think, after watching a movie, I don't know if you remember, there was these two mechanics in this one movie where they're looking at a part. Hey, what do you think this is? And he's looking at a carburetor, and the guy says, I don't know, about $500. That's the way people think of mechanics, right? Yeah. They think, as soon as they go in there, it looks like the guy calls in, he's in for an oil change. And he goes, it looks like you need a new carburetor and your transmission shot. But he goes, I just came in for an oil change. What the hell happened? Yeah. Right? So that's where you get all that from, right? Yeah. And that's the way people look at us.
I see this guy on Instagram sometimes, whatever, and he starts yapping away about well, look at these oil pans. The oil pan's made out of plastic. Why is it made out of plastic?
Oh, you saw that one too. Yeah. I think I saw it. Yeah.
You know that idiot?
Yeah. Everything's made out of plastic now.
Yeah.
Rocker valve covers for years.
Control arms made out of plastic, and I'm going, oh, come on.
Actually, there is some upper control arms on something. I did see this. It was on a Ram, I think it was. They're plastic control arms, or made out of some hard plastic. Yeah. Now, I don't know if anybody can get back to us on that.
I think it's a composite material.
Well, you know what? If anybody can get back to us on that, they can sure as hell email us on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, at the TracSport Garage podcast at gmail.com. Let's not forget that. I want somebody to tell me if I'm wrong or not, because I remember somebody showing me this. I actually saw the parts on a truck. They're made out of hard plastic. Yeah. Upper control arms, I'm pretty sure it was.
Really?
Just so you know, right? I hope Nissan hasn't got that way.
No, not so far.
No, because, I mean, that's always been a pretty good product.
On the oil pans, yeah.
Well, oil pans, intake manifolds. Well, pretty soon they'll be doing exhaust manifolds out of hard plastic. You never know, Stevie.
Maybe they're lined with something.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we've seen a lot of stuff, I'm sure. Like, even when we're getting into transmissions, right? Yeah. Nobody rebuilds them anymore, do they? Like, at the dealership level, you don't rebuild transmissions?
At the dealership level, we do not. All it is all we do is replace. Everything's replaced now. We don't rebuild anything.
Right, but you have to reprogram some of these transmissions, don't you?
Oh, yeah, you have to do a forward clutch learning and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But, yeah.
And that takes a few minutes too, right?
Yeah, I guess for all of it, it'll probably maybe take half an hour to an hour, I guess, because you got to set up the consult and all that stuff and getting it to operating temperature where it's supposed to be and then do it. And then hopefully it takes. Sometimes you might have to do it a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know, computers sometimes they can be very finicky and they lock up and you have to start over.
Yeah.
But yeah, half an hour to an hour, you should be able to relearn all the functions of it, and then you let it go.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
But there's no more rebuild.
No, because I remember we used to rebuild carburetors.
Yeah.
Remember the circuits of the carburetor?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
What was it called? FinPack. Float, idle, main metering, power, acceleration, and choke. That was the 6 circuits.
You can't remember what you fucking ate in a half an hour.
Well, I don't know.
Remember that.
Whatever that meat was you just ate right now, that steak, it was delicious, man. Well done, buddy. I like that. That was good. But there's that. I remember that. And the firing order of a Chevy V8.
186573.
You're close.
1846573.
That's it. You got it. Yeah, that's right. And 153624, then 1342, all the 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders. Man, we used to have to remember that because the wiring. Remember, you had to pull the wires off and put everything back on. Or some guy would pull the distributor out and goes, I don't know where I pulled it. I don't know where it was timed. So then you got to turn the engine over, put the top dead center number 1 compression.
Yeah.
Then look where the cam is in the bottom of the engine. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you just put the long screwdriver in number 1 spark plug hole, and then turn the crank over with a wrench until saw the screwdriver go up. Okay, my top dead center number 1. Okay.
But you weren't sure if you're on compression though, Steve. What's the matter with you?
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I always put the compression gauge in there, put my thumb over it, and say, okay, turn over there. I feel the air start to come out. Okay, we're coming up to compression now, right? Yeah. Now we can look, right? Start turning the engine over by hand and put the screwdriver in there. Yeah. And then battery load testing.
Yeah.
How many times has that battery load test meter of yours, the new one, completely been wrong?
Oh, all kinds of times.
You know?
I check it, and it shows replace battery, and the next time I check it says good battery. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
How did it get good in 5 seconds?
Yeah. And I remember customers would come in and say, my battery was dead this morning. So I said, okay, bring it over, we'll check it, right? The guys check it and say, no, there's nothing wrong with it. Hold it, guys, stop. Do me a favor, leave the headlights on for 10 minutes. And then, boom, battery was dead within 5.
Yeah.
Right? But it would pass when it got there because it was fully charged. Yeah. Because everything was charging
because
it.
Because it's not getting the proper load.
Right. So they would.
So I got it right over here.
I see
this old snap-on one that you turn the dial and load. That's the best thing you could use to check a battery.
That's right. Something with a carbon pilot in there.
You could charge the thing up 15 volts. And you hold that thing for 15 seconds, it drops down to 9 volts. It's done.
You just do a starter draw test, right? You draw 150 to 200 amps.
Falls right off the map or whatever. Where I think those electronic machines, I don't think they load it properly.
I still try and figure out how they work. I'm trying to figure out how that thing can load anything. The wires are so small on them. I mean, I've got them. Yeah. I use them, but I also have the carbon pilot one too. When I'm questioning this. You know what I mean? Let me go get the baby upstairs, and I bring it down, and I crank that thing to 200 amps, and I hold it for 10 seconds. You see the thing glowing red on the back. Yeah. The smoke's coming out of it, and you see the battery drop, right? And if it's a real good battery, that thing's glowing red, and it's not dropping, and it's smoking. Yeah. You know you've got current, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm not sure what else I've got to say today? Okay, well, let me think. What can we do? Oh, racing.
Yeah, we were going to talk about racing.
We never finished half the stuff about racing.
I know. Well, we can.
I can talk about something that happened to me at Daytona.
Let's go.
Okay. It was the year 2001. We were at the 24 Hours Daytona. We were racing the Maxima for head office for Canada. And we were racing a support race, Michelin Pilot Series, right? Which used to be Grand Am at one time, so it's worked its way up the ladder. And we're in the 3-hour support race for the 24 hour. And in our pit stall is Dale Earnhardt Sr., Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brad Park, or Steve Park.
Say Brad Park, he played for the Rangers, didn't he?
Steve Park.
In Boston.
Yeah, and Michael Waltrip, right? Because
Okay.
they are racing in their series, in their class in our series. And Dale Earnhardt was racing in the 24-hour Daytona with his yellow Corvette, so he was there as the boss, right? Now, you picture this. This is year 2001. I'm young. He's young. I got my baseball hat on, my sunglasses on, and I got my mustache. We kind of almost look the same, Dale Earnhardt and I, in a way.
Yeah.
So I was helping push the number 3 Corvette, back, because we were trying to get our car in, and this is in the paddocks. And some kid runs up to me and his father, "Hey, Dale, can I get your autograph?" I said, "No, I'm not Dale Earnhardt, man, but I know where he is." "Yeah, right, buddy," you know what I mean? Because I had my Nissan outfit on, right? And then some other guy asked me for an autograph, so I look around. I was ready to sign. I said, "I can't do it. I'm not Dale." You know what I mean? So anyways, we're sitting in our pit stall, and the cars are going around, and Dale Earnhardt comes up to me, and he goes, "Listen, man, that car that you guys have there, what is it?" I said, "Well, it's a Nissan Maxima, a four-door sports car." He goes, "I can't catch that thing on the infield." I go, "Come on. You got like 800 horsepower. You can't catch that car? It's only got like 400. He goes, "I cannot catch that car on the infield. It turns." He said, "I'd like to drive that car one day." And I went, "I don't think so, man. You can't drive this car." And he goes, "No one will ever know, Vic. All we got to do is change our outfits." I went, "No, that's not happening, man." I had to walk away. I had to explain to him.
How could you say no to Dale Earnhardt?
I had to, man. Could you imagine if he got in that car, Steve? He's driving a Japanese car, and all his fans are out there with number 3 all over there in the infield with their bonfires going, and they're, oh my God. Yeah. Throwing their skins onto the fire.
Yeah. Throw a beer bottle in the fire.
Yeah, so, I mean, he was a fun guy. We had a great time. And I'll never forget that. And he won the 24 Hours Daytona that year.
That's a good story, man.
Yeah, it's a great story. I was so happy, man, for him. Made a good friend, as long as it lasted at the time, unfortunately. But racing is racing. Things can happen, right? Yeah. And he was the best, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun. And, man, could he drive a car? If you saw him drive.
He was dirty.
I don't think he was dirty. No, he was fast.
No, I shouldn't say he was dirty. He knew how to drive a race car to its limits.
He did.
And he drove it that way.
He had no fear.
Yeah.
Like if you see some of the video now, when I see him getting it, like they show video of him getting in the yellow Corvette on the 24 hour, he just jumps in while he's driving, he's putting on his seatbelt. Like he's just like open helmet. Like, come on, man. Things have changed, eh? And it's all because of things that happened to him that safety has changed.
When you were in his way, he'd take you right out of the race.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, he had to let you know I'm there.
So I'm not saying he was no gentleman racer. Put it that way.
Well, I don't know about that.
He wasn't like,
if you were in my way,
I'll let you go by me because you're faster than me.
No,
he wasn't.
He wants you to work for it. He would have you work to pass him. That's what a good driver does. But I think if you were in front of him and you were holding him up, that's when you're going to get the nudge.
Oh yeah, nudge. He put you in the wall.
I remember racing in one of the 3-hour races, the War Bonnet Enduro at Mossport, and there was this one car that kept coming down on me. Like I was just ready to pass, kept coming down. It must have lasted about at least 5 or 6 laps. Then I finally going into turn 5 at Mossport. He came down, but I had already committed, and his back end hit my front end, and now he's sideways, and I'm pushing him sideways. So I finally push him out of the way and go around turn 5B, and he's sitting on the track sideways. And, of course, some other cars collided with him. And I felt bad. Oh, my God. Did he go after you? No, we both talked about it and laughed. We did laugh because he said, "I didn't see you, man. I'm sorry." I said, "Look, I just wanted to get out of there because we knew those other guys were coming." You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyways, we finished the race. We still talk to each other, and it was just one of those incidents. He just didn't see me when I was already past the point of no return.
Right.
Right? And it's all right. We've had a few things like that happen, but it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. You come out of it, everybody's happy. Some guys have more repairs than others. But that's about it. That's what I got thought. That's the racing part that I remembered for now. And I'm sure we'll go over some more later.
Well, that's a great ending of the show, bud. That's a great end of the show. So, stay tuned for next week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep, so don't forget, if you have any questions, TracSport Garage Podcast at gmail.com. Please give us some answers that we needed for today. That'd be great. And yeah, we'll talk to everybody real soon. Steve,
all right.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Ciao.